2, and we are live.
And welcome. You are at a public meeting of the South Shore Arts Application Review Panel convened to review and discuss the Indiana Arts Commission Fiscal Year 24 Arts Project Support Grant applications for Region 1. This is panel 1 of 2. I'm Larry Breckner. I'm board chair for Lakeshore Public Media in Maryville, co-host of and producer of Art on the Air, retired musical theater director and photographer. And I'm located in Chesterton right now. I am the panel facilitator. Today is May 4th, 2003, and it's 1 p.m. Central Time, and we are meeting online, streaming live for applicants and public to observe. There's no contact between the panel and the audience about the disposition of the applicants before, during, or after the panel meeting. This meeting is being recorded and will be made available upon request. At this time, I'd like to introduce each of our panelists and have them and staff have them introduce themselves, stating their name, occupation, and where they are from. Let's start with the panel. Liam.
Good afternoon. My name is Liam Bonner. I'm here in Indianapolis. I'm a retired opera singer, former development officer with Houston Symphony, and current executive director of the Indianapolis Symphonic Choir.
Thank you, Liam. Jeannie.
Hello, I'm Jeannie Rapstead, president of Jeannie Rapstead Enterprises, LLC. We provide speech, product, speaker, coaching. I'm an actress and comedian in Hammond, Indiana.
Thank you, Jeannie. Phil?
Hi, Phil Patempa. I work as an arts and cultures columnist for the Post-Tribune and Chicago Tribune Media and the director of marketing for the Center for Visual Performing Arts in Munster, Indiana. And I live in Stark County in the small town of San Pierre, Indiana.
Thank you, Phil. Elaine?
Hi, I live in Carmel, and for many years I was the executive director of the Museum of Miniature Houses in Carmel, and I am for several years now and currently a grant writer.
Thank you. Donna?
Hi, I'm Donna Catalano. I am the Outreach and Engagement Manager for Legacy Foundation, the community foundation for Lake County.
Okay, and Rockland?
Hello, my name is Rockland Page. I am a graphic designer and owner and CEO of Rock-A-Block LLC, located in Maryville, where we design and make custom apparel and streetwear.
Now we move on to staff. Dave?
I'm sorry, Dave Micah, Executive Director for South Shore Arts and the Program Manager for today. Thank you all for joining, and thank you to our panelists for their time today.
Eric?
Hi, everyone. Eric Ashby, Grants and Research Manager for the Indiana Arts Commission. I will be running all the tech things today.
Thank you, Eric. And Paige?
Welcome, everybody. I'm Paige Sharp, Deputy Director of Programs for the Indiana Arts Commission, and I'm here to provide any policy clarification if needed.
Okay, thank you. Well, now we're going to begin the panel review. This is how the process works. I will announce the application and we will review and ask the first reader to begin the discussion. The first reader will provide their assessment of the application based on the evaluation criteria and their perspective. Panelists, please note that the applications do not need to be recapped since everyone has already read it. Just provide your comments. As the first reader is finished, I'll ask the second reader to present any additional or opposing comments. We're not looking for a consensus, just a full evaluation from the different perspectives the panelists are bringing to the table. After the second reader is finished, I'll open the discussion for final comments. Remember, in the interest of time, we're only looking for new or additional or opposing viewpoint. If the panelist has a conflict of interest, that panelist will be placed in a virtual waiting room while the application is being reviewed. This one panel, I do not believe has any conflicts, so it may not apply here. Finally, once the application has been reviewed by the full panel, we ask the panel to update their scores in the online system. It's common for scores to change as a result of this broader discussion. The scores will save automatically. And also at the end of all of them, we will do a final look over any of them if there's anything. Is there any questions from panelists? All right. Well, let's begin. First, we're going to start with the All Music Project Ltd. Liam, you are the first reader.
All right. So for the All Music Project Ltd, let's go. I'm so sorry. Here we go. Artistic quality. I thought there were some really lovely examples provided from the previous year's concert. It was nice to see this organization building off of the success of last year's free concert. Regarding artist support, Indiana artists will clearly directly benefit financially from the project, so great job there. Under the IDEA, I think obviously providing a free concert performance is great, and performing music from a mix of genres is wonderful for accessibility. You're providing sounds for a wide variety of audience. I might suggest possibly incorporating a question on the follow-up survey, if it's not already included, asking what the audience might like to hear next year, just to have the community more engaged and involved in next year's programming. Under project management, everything looked really great. I did have a slight issue with the budget. It seemed to be a little off from my understanding of this application. The beginning of the application stated 37 musicians at $150, which comes to $5,550. Later in the application, I saw 50 musicians, which assuming 150 per musician comes to $7,500. But the final budget breakdown says only $7,000 for artist fees. So while this is not a major discrepancy, just please make sure you double check the financials and make sure that all of your financials are in line throughout the project application.
Okay, thank you, Liam. Phil, second reader, if you have any additional comments. Phil, I'm sorry, you're muted. So can you restart?
I think Liam pretty much captured all of the major points that I would also reemphasize. I would just say, as a first-time project, none of us have a crystal ball, so it can be difficult sometimes to be able to plan every single nuance. But I think the applicant did a fairly adequate job with piecing all the details and really kind of fine-tuning where they're headed. So that's all I have. Nothing further.
Okay, Phil, thank you. Do we have any additional comments from our panel?
I would have liked to have seen a little bit more delineation in the in-kind part in the budget. It was just total in-kind, and I didn't know where the in-kind was coming from.
Okay, thank you, Donna. Any other comments?
Yeah, I had in the timeline, there's no mention of community engagement or marketing activities. And I was wondering, they mentioned flyers, for example, and I was wondering if these are brought to churches and community centers, storefronts in the area, you know, where these flyers are and how they, where they distribute them in order to get a larger audience.
Okay, thank you, Elaine. Any other comments? If not,
I did listen to the recordings, and I thought that recordings were very nice.
Very good. And once more, any other comments? Okay, please, panelists, finalize your scores, update in your online comments, and let me know if you need more time. Are we all ready to go? Give me a thumbs up, I guess. Okay, I think I got everyone. Next, we're going to move on to the African American Achievers Youth Corps Incorporated. Elaine, you are the first reader. And you are muted, so please, there we go.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're loud and clear.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. I like this application a lot. So my first comment seems kind of negative, but under the artistic section, I wrote, at first I thought the project is clear and the mission is clear, but I was unclear on the linkage between the two. That is, how does the festival help fulfill the organization's mission? But the project description later answered that question. Okay, so I think it's just the way it was presented, it in the order that it was presented in, it threw me off a little bit. I thought it was well written and comprehensive and anticipates questions the reviewer might have. Under artistic support, I really liked the artistic examples and appreciated the little one-line introductions as to why the links are listed. The posters of particular films were appealing and interesting. I feel there should be mention of the indirect benefits filmmakers receive, such as marketing done on their behalf, exposure, building awareness, and providing bona fides of being an official festival entry. These are all very important to the filmmakers, and so the festival is providing that value, but doesn't acknowledge that it does. Under idea, I said every issue point mentioned by the Indiana Arts Commission is addressed in a logical and engaging manner. How they get their feedback is clear. What they do with their feedback is clear. How they engage their community partners is clear and indicative of a lot of intentional effort. Marketing examples are plentiful and illustrative. And under project management, each section is perfectly clear and justified, leaving no doubt as to staffing, timeline, or budget. A job well done.
Thank you, Elaine. Donna, you are the second reader.
Well, I don't think I need to say much more. That was a very good review. I like that. The only thing is that I understand that since this is a film festival and since the applications haven't been submitted yet, you can't indicate whether the artists are from Indiana or not. And I don't think all the applicants have to be from Indiana, if I remember correctly, but just so we know that they couldn't answer that question. The only thing that concerned me in the IDEA was that there were 4 steps in the theater. I've been to the theater and I think they have a portable ramp that they can use, and there's assistance if needed. And I was really impressed and liked that they included the actual survey that they give to their patrons. I have been to the film festival before and have gone since I work for South Shore Arts. It's just a really enjoyable night if anybody gets a chance.
Thank you, Donna. Panelists, any additional comments? Seeing none, please update. Oh, do I have a comment for someone? Rockland, go ahead.
I just really appreciate that this project is taking place in one of the most underserved communities in Northwest Indiana. So that really stuck out to me, and I really commend them for that.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, any additional comments? If not, please update your online comments, points. Let me know if you need more time, and please give me a thumbs up when you're ready. Okay, I think we're ready to go. Next, we're doing the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Northwest Indiana. Phil, you're number 1 on the runway for this. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. The applicant, obviously, with their details, have a half a century history with their programs to help continue to further the arts and fine arts and the details. One of the things for this applicant and for all applicants, it's always important to have as many specific details as possible. And I think sometimes the narrative and some of the explanation spoken in more generalities, which have a large span for their outreach with all the communities and areas that they cover. So it may be hard to include everything, but a few more examples certainly I think would help benefit, just to give us a little more clearer picture. The project management part I think was fairly fine-tuned, and I felt like all the math and everything added up in my mind overall. So other than the fact of just a little bit more specifics as opposed to generalities, I had no further things to add to this particular applicant.
Okay, Phil, thank you so much. Jeannie, you're up. Please tell us as second reader.
I have no other really specific comments to make, but what I really did appreciate is that the feedback that they get from their youth and teens and parents and volunteers and their community Community Schools confirms that these art programs are really important to their communities. And I really appreciated that they made this point.
Thank you, Jeannie. Any other comments from the panel? Donna? You're muted. Donna?
I was concerned, I understand that it's 10 clubs and you're teaching these classes every day, but in question 1, describe the project demonstrating its artistic quality. There was no mention of the artist and where they're from and who they are. And if it's a class that is taught every day, I would imagine you have your art instructor list. So I would have liked to have seen who they were or and how they were used. One other thing that I had was in the budget, there's a line item for art instructors. So the project is benefiting artists financially, but that again wasn't addressed in the question.
Okay, thank you, Donna. Any other comments?
Yes, along Donna's first set of comments in the artistic quality, they give only 5 examples of artwork. And considering it's such a massive program, I thought that there could be more. 4 of them are paintings, even though they state that they do a variety of mediums. And it would be helpful within those examples if there were captions to identify the age of the artist, since again, they stress that to be fair, the participants are divided into age groups so that youth are judged against their peers.
Thank you, Elaine. Any other comments from the panel? If not, please update your scores and online comments. Let me know if you need any more time. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready to go. Okay, looks like we're ready to move on. Chautauqua in the Dunes, Donna, you are reader number 1.
I am. So I'm always happy to see a project that includes art, nature, that sort of thing. Let me get to my comments here. Sorry. I know I wrote something here. Yeah, I like the infusion of nature, photography, and science in the program. I like that it's held within the park system. And then the visitor center, when you go there, you're lucky you have a built-in diverse community right there. So you get to go to the visitor center. I hope that a curator can be on hand once in a while that could give a feel for the reception and help out the visitors and let them know what they're seeing. I thought everything else was on target. The budget was fine. This description was fine. The artists were fine. I had contact with all of them. They're all first rate. So I think overall, this is a good project to promote our park system and our art system.
Thank you, Donna. Rockland, you are the second reader.
So for artistic quality, I ranked it pretty high. One thing that really impressed me was that the posters were going to be bilingual in English and Spanish, just to make it more inclusive. And seeing that, the Dunes is one of the most popular places within Northwest Indiana. So I think it's really important. And I was really impressed that it's attached with the Smithsonian Institute. I think it gives a bit more credibility to it because a lot of people in our region might not be able to visit one of those institutions. So to have that exposure is great. And I noted that the organizers seem to have experience with public art displays and bring in, quality art events to the Dunes.
Okay, thank you, Rockland. Any additional comments from the panel?
I do have a comment in the ideas section. The text mentions that a target audience is tourists, but they don't give any indication if there's any marketing via the local tourism authority, how they're reaching those tourists. And then later in the timeline, there are 5 months of marketing materials being developed and distributed, but there are no details about that, about what particularly they are and how they build on one another.
Okay, thank you, Elaine. Any other comments?
Larry, I just wanted to hop in real fast and just say, just to not bring outside information into the application. We're only sharing information specifically that was included in the application. While valuable and important, only here to share just that information. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Paige. Any other comments? If not, take a moment to update your scores and comments. Let me know when you're ready to go. Okay, everyone ready? All right, we will now move on to the Family Folklore Foundation Incorporated. Jeannie, you are first reader.
Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to this application. I thought it was a very interesting and exciting project. It's ambitious, but they've stated their goals very clearly and detailed. And the contributing and performing artists were named and the responsibilities were clearly defined, which I think is important in an undertaking like this. The project addresses how the 1933 Chicago's World Fair Century of Progress buildings were impacted, and that is just so unique. We don't have an opportunity to see that kind of a project very often. The marketing materials that they attached to their application showed very low ticket prices, which I really appreciated, because sometimes we talk about our project is directed toward underserved people, and maybe the ticket prices are too high for some underserved people. So we have a ticket price here for the Big Backyard Radio Play Show, only $2. The Indiana University Northwest Savannah Berglund Theater Project performance was $5. And those are affordable projects, I think, for people. That was the puppet show and radio play. So I appreciated the fact that they want to provide a project that is intergenerational so that a wide range of people can enjoy it. You know, children can go with their grandparents and older people. And so to me, it was an interesting project, and it looks like they have planned for success. And a detailed staffing list was provided for everyone to see, and there was a general activities timeline provided and a general itemized budget. But I think that's probably appropriate for where they are. And those are my comments.
Thank you, Jeannie. Second reader, Liam.
Agree with a lot of the things Jeannie said. There were two other points that I'd like to make. One is under the community engagement and idea. I would like to see some more specific details about how underserved communities benefit from this project. In addition to the press release that was included under the sample marketing material, I would like to see some more visual marketing materials, if possible, some posters or flyers or some other design than just a press release. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Liam. Any additional comments? Donna.
Let's see. Sorry. Just that I noticed that again under the artist it was included who they were, but not where they were from. And so that was missing. The artistic samples were good, and they were presented well and produced well. I was impressed with the efforts of the organization to include everyone, and that they were going to use live streaming, recording, and a language interpreter and subtitles. So I was happy with that. I was very concerned about the timeline. I don't think there is a timeline. It was very vague, and I didn't really know how the project was going to come about, and it's very ambitious. So I would have liked to see more detail on the timeline. And then the budget concerned me a little, that the largest expense was travel, and I realized that presenters are going to be traveling and coming from all over, but I was concerned that the travel was more than the artist stipends.
Okay, Donna, thank you. Any other comments from our panel? Okay, take this opportunity to update your stores and online comments as you need. Let me know when you're ready to go on to the next one. Okay, ready to go. Now we move on to Genesius Guild. Liam, you are the first reader.
Okay, Genesius Guild.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I had Gary Shakespeare Company.
Oh, I'm sorry, my mistake. So Rockland, let's go to you for Gary Shakespeare Company.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Okay. So yes, I was pretty impressed with this submission. As far as artistic quality, I think it's a very, great opportunity to bring Shakespeare to Northwest Indiana in public spaces. I was impressed that they don't charge admission. They did acknowledge that there is no difficulty having these events outdoors because of traffic, trains, things of that nature. And I was impressed that they are trying to find ways to accommodate that by using indoor venues, finding times where there's less traffic, and using ASL interpreters. I also was, I saw that the funds, they appear to go directly towards covering production and marketing costs. And I assume everyone involved is working on a volunteer basis. So I wasn't really sure if money was going directly to any specific artist. But I know things of this nature, you tend to have volunteers, and marketing and materials do cost a lot of money. So I understand that. I think it's the inclusiveness was great, having it again in Northwest Indiana and Gary, and just seeing that the impact that it has on the community, taking their feedback into consideration on how and when they perform.
Okay, Rockland, thank you. Elaine, you are our second reader.
I thought this was a wonderful example. I agree with everything Rockland said. I think it's a wonderful example of taking an idea and expanding on it with multiple venues and the addition of the summer camp. There were very thoughtful lessons learned from previous years and from audience input, such as changing the venues and making the chairs available and so on. The brief descriptions of the artistic examples I find extremely useful before I click on those examples, so I know what I'm supposed to be looking at. I'm not clear why the performers do not get paid. They seem to be community actors, not professionals, but still I would think that there should be a stipend given to them. In the idea section, I was a little unclear about the direct participation, the number of people directly participating in the project. The number of adults anticipated is 800, but the first sentence in the explanation says, at each performance, audience members were counted and tabulated at just under 600, and there were multiple performances, which means a lot more than 800 total. So I just got all messed up on that one. But otherwise, overall, I think it's a very good application where the applicant carefully answered all the questions and provided clear, detailed responses, particularly in the project management section.
Okay, thank you, Elaine. Any other comments from the panel? Donna.
Only one thing I wasn't clear about, all the other things I agree with everybody, is that I wasn't quite sure what the relationship was between the Calumet College and the theater company, and I wasn't quite sure who was presenting the camp. So I would have liked to see a little bit more clarification on that.
Thank you, Donna. Any other comments from the panelists? If not, please update your scores and online comments. Let me know when you are ready to move on to the next one. Okay, is everyone ready? Well, now we'll move on to Genesius Guild, and that will be Liam.
Here we go. All right, for the Genesius Guild, I thought this is a great way for multi-generational learning, having both the community theater and one of the local high schools collaborating. I see that The Secret Garden was performed last year, and it just makes me interested to know what show was selected this year. I see that they'll they decided that in April, but by the time this application was submitted, they hadn't made that decision. So I'm just intrigued to know what was selected. The artists clearly directly financially benefit from this project, excuse me. I really loved in the IDEA and the community engagement. I thought this was really unique. I liked the opportunity for parents to bring their young children to rehearsal. I think childcare can be a big reason many people are unable to participate fully in their communities. And to have a creative outlet for these parents is commendable. Exposure to the arts at such a young age for these children is also critical to their development. So it's such a win-win situation. And maybe an idea I might have to steal with our organization. And with regards to the project management, everything looks good to me. Those are my comments.
Thank you, Liam. Phil, you're next, second reader.
I could not say anything better than myself. I have nothing further to add. Thank you, Liam.
Any comments from the panel? If there's no comments, please finalize your scores, update your online comments. Let me know if you need more time and when you're ready to go. Okay, it seems like everyone is ready to go. Next, we'll move on to Humane Indiana Incorporated. Elaine, you are the first reader. Elaine, you're still muted.
Between trying to see the whole file and the Zoom, okay. I really liked the artistic examples. I thought that they were perfectly illustrative of the project. There's a clear role of the local artists who are named, but I didn't see that they were financially compensated in any way. In the ideas section, I was wondering if the posters are limited to being on site, or are they available at partner sites such as South Shore Arts and schools in Hammond. I had a hard time identifying any art programs on the website or on the Facebook page. I was suggesting to put a link to the actual Facebook post about a particular art program rather than just link to the Facebook page where I didn't see any mention of this. And I wasn't clear on the relationship with Art Barn. I understand it's next door, but what exactly, how they were going to participate, I'm not sure. In the project management section, there's no doubt about Ms. Harmon's qualifications as a naturalist, but I would have liked to see more about her working with artists on management of the art aspect of the project. And I wasn't sure what the $2,500 for professional development was and who was going to get that, if one person was getting that, if it was spread across several people. There's a, and then there's just a note that the free programming for underserved communities is not part of the expenses, as it's not a cash expense, and it should be below the line as an in-kind expense.
Okay, Elaine, thank you. Donna, second reader.
Okay, I'm going to go up to, let's see, under the IDEA, and I really can't, it's a really good project. I like how it works to protect wildlife by educating those around it, and how better to educate than around a table creating something. I think that's where the Art Barn comes in, and most applicants' IDEA programs are great on paper and in reality not reflective of what was really described. So I like that. The posters and the photos of the kids and families at the night out events are really good. I absolutely love the look of the kids' faces when the possum was walking in front of them. That was really priceless. I like that the applicant used the Census 2020 statistics for the area and took the time to study the makeup of the area that they do indeed serve. That was very well done. The leadership is good for the project. The timeline should have included the planning process and not just the dates of activities.
Okay, Donna, thank you. Panelists, any additional comments? If not, please update your scores and comments. Let me know if you need more time and when you're ready to go. Okay, well, now we'll move on to the Indiana Dunes Environmental Learning Center. Phil, you're the first reader on that.
Okay, thank you. As a journalist, I'm always all about detail and description, and this applicant provided both, which makes it very easy for us to follow and to see exactly, what the scope is for the plans. They have a 25-year history with their projects of incorporating art and bringing it to the community. What I really appreciated is that the special detail and time given to the demographics, how they capture who's there and who is benefiting. They also are quite thorough in explaining the staff who are the ones that are going to make the project happen, and not only just the staff, but also their years of involvement as a part of the program. One thing that this applicant and all applicants could certainly value from is there's some mention with the marketing of using, of course, social media and some of the free outreaches with the website, but I'm always, of course, a proponent for reaching out for all of the aspects of any kind of a media outlet, including traditional media. And many applicants, including this one, don't always mention about the fact of just contacting radio and newspapers are still able to also help get that word out. So I would hope that might be an avenue that would be captured as well. The math seemed to be fine and added up, and I don't have anything else that to add to my critique.
Thank you, Phil. Jeannie, you're the second reader.
What I really appreciated about the statements regarding the impact of these projects is that the parents report that their children proudly display their nature-based art projects at home. So this tells me that the activity was significant and touched the young person in a way that they're proud. And I think that we should, appreciate that about. Sometimes we give projects to kids that are just make work or pass the time kind of thing. And I really appreciated that, the children were proud of what they're done. So I took that to heart. But one thing that I noted in my notes here is that even though the instructions requested a timeline that was detailed, this was very general and non-specific. So maybe more effort could have put into really defining what their project's timeline was. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Jeannie. Any other comments from the panelists? Donna.
Yeah, when I looked at the narrative in the project's our mission and statement, it says, although the applicant described that the instructors were going to do, they never really told me what the goal of the project was. Was a goal, they're working on a fiberglass mascot for the pollinator garden, but what is the goal? To learn more about pollinators, to learn more about techniques of painting on fiberglass. Never quite, sure. I just knew what they were going to do. So I would have liked to have known more what the goal of the project was. The projects were very good though. And what kid doesn't like to make a diorama? I thought the sound walking was very intriguing to go out and to walk and to listen. And the acoustic ecology sounds amazing and sounds very inclusive. So I was very happy with that.
Thank you, Donna. Any other comments from the panelists? Elaine.
I was a little unclear about the length of service for Heather. On the website, there's a note congratulating her on being named executive director, but in the project management section of the application, it's implied that she's been in that role for 5 years. So it just threw me off.
Okay, thank you, Elaine. Any other comments? Hearing none, finalize your scores, update your online comments, and let me know when you're ready to move on. Okay, looks like we're ready. Next is the International Friendship Gardens Music Festival, and that will be Donna.
Okay, start with the artistic. The goal of the project was clear and concise. I like that it said clearly the purpose of. I have been to the gardens and the pavilion and the canopy, so I understand that. I was happy that they used the feedback from the audience. They built a new pavilion, but everybody prefers to go to the canopy, so they're back at the canopy. So they're listening to their constituents. The artist's background are very good and concise, and this would be a great experience and is wonderful to be presented out in nature. Underneath the financial support for the artist is appropriate portion of the project costs. The artist bios are very good. The question did ask the applicant to tell us about the artist and to be sure to include where they're from, and that wasn't included in the description, just who they were and what their experience was. I think, let's see, in IDEA, it's a great event. The artists involved and the audience and the programming are inclusive in multiple languages and histories and backgrounds. The project did mention that is included ethnicities, races, and socioeconomic status. But I did see that the ticket price is $45. And that would be very difficult for a majority of local residents in the Michigan City area. So I think perhaps a discounted rate or something for voice students, or maybe they could have a thought about that. And I do think that the cost is a little bit of a barrier for some people. The project seems to run like a well-oiled machine. The timeline was organized and it's very well orchestrated, and the budget is appropriate for the project.
Okay, Donna, thank you. Rockland, second reader.
I pretty much agree with everything Donna said. One question I had, or one thing I thought about under the marketing participation is, they seem to have a strong marketing presence, but I wanted to clearly see how this project would be made accessible to underserved communities.
Okay. Any other additional comments from our panelists? Yes. Let Jeannie was going to go first, and I'll get you, Elaine. Go ahead, Jeannie.
Thank you very much. I read this proposal, and it indicated that the performing artists are based outside of Indiana, and the travel expense item in their budget seems to support that. And I would like to see at least some of the artists be Indiana-based, since the grant comes from Indiana taxpayers. I also was concerned about how this project can serve underserved communities, the people that are kind of poor. And they say that they welcome people of all ages and backgrounds and everything, but how do they help them get there and pay for it? That would be nice to know. If you're welcoming them, are you providing transportation, lower ticket prices, discounts, fee, or even free? So I would have liked to.
You muted yourself, Jeannie. At the end there, you muted yourself. There you go.
Why did I do that? I don't want to do that. And also regarding the staffing, only the committee chair was listed. There wasn't specific information about the other people that helped this project succeed, like committee members, garden employees, or volunteers. It just indicated that there would be some, but it wasn't really specific. And I thought maybe that would be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie. Elaine, you had a comment?
It was only about the in the ideas section that they say that they use social media as an open space to gain valuable feedback, but I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure that if that means they hope for feedback and use what they get, or if they're intentionally gathering information and comments.
Okay, Elaine, thank you. Any other comments? Okay, please update your scores, comments, and let me know when you're ready to move on. Okay, we got to move on to the Duneland Family YMCA. Jeannie, you are the first reader on that.
Okay. I felt that their goals were very clearly stated, and their project, they want to enrich the lives of all the Duneland communities that specifically underserved people with art programming that is free or substantially lower than other options. And once again, this is important if we're trying to help underserved communities, is to have instruction that's quality and first class at a price that they can afford or just free. And I appreciated the fact that a lot of their programs are directed toward the senior community, very much so. I was concerned about their point that no paid artists were listed under support and the artistic quality. So I was concerned about that aspect. I have a lot of support for the YMC's goals here to serve people regardless of their age, background, income, or ability, because we all need to have organizations like that. And I appreciate the fact they seek feedback and act on it. And I thought the marketing materials that they provided were really appropriate. Those are my comments.
Thank you, Jeannie. Move on to a second reader, Liam.
I have nothing additional to add from what Jeannie already spoke about.
Okay, thank you, Liam. Any other comments from the panel? Seeing none, just update your scores and comments. We will move on. Jeannie, you may want to mute yourself there too. If we have any technical issues, we always can blame them on Eric. Remember that. So if you're all ready to go, we'll move on. My French is very weak here, but the Arc du Ciel Theater Group, and that'll be Rockland as our first reader.
Okay. So as I was reading through this, I saw that the production 1776 is going to be a very complex endeavor because of the costuming and production and everything of it. And I noted that could be a huge draw, but also a huge hindrance because it needs to meet a certain quality to pull this off well. Under artistic support, I assume that I would consider the costumers, the stage producers, the lighting, I consider all those people to be artists. So the compensation going towards those activities, I consider going to local artists. Community engagement. I would like to see more about how different groups will be reached. I know this is reaching more towards the southern part of our region. I would love to see if we could reach anyone from Hammond, East Chicago, or Gary to actually come down and participate, whether that's busing, live streaming, or something of that nature. And under management, I see that the organizers have a long history of theater. I believe it's over 57 years. So I just wonder, how they would actually handle this if the budget is just fully thought out for how much this will take, how much costuming will really cost, and is there any wiggle room for, things such as inflation or things going wrong.
Okay, Rockland, thank you so much. Elaine, you are the second reader.
In the artistic quality, I noted that the artistic examples are very good pictures, but there's not enough information about those productions to give, such as when they took place, to give me a picture of what this organization really accomplishes. In the idea section, I love the discount for veterans. I wasn't clear on how follow-up with group leaders and patrons who purchase blocks of tickets will also provide necessary feedback. Unless group sales are a large part of this, but that's not explained. The marketing material is clear, but I don't understand why the project is scheduled over a 6-month period. On the Facebook page, it says the production will be October to mid-November. And so, but it doesn't say that there's 6 months of getting the artists and the technical personnel on board and rehearsals and so on. So that's not explained.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other comments from the panel? Okay, Donna.
I just want to make a quick comment. I think one of the things that we don't realize is that the further south that you go in the county, I don't believe there's any theater south of 30 anymore. So it's really important that I think we remember that rural areas are underserved. And so I'm glad that they're still out there.
Okay, thank you, Donna. Any other comments? Oh yeah, Jeannie.
Well, I was very excited about this project because it's a wonderful show, 1776. But because so much of what their goals are to have period costumes and the appropriate sets and everything, it was a concern to me that they didn't specify that they had filled these roles. And I'm sure maybe they have, but I think under the project management, we should have a little bit of information about how they anticipate, finding the appropriate costume builders and set designers and set constructions. So I think a little bit more information there would have been helpful.
Okay, thank you, Jeannie. Any other comments? Hearing none, let's finalize your scores, update your comments, and let me know when we're ready to move on to the next applicant. Okay, it looks like we're ready. Land of Lakes Arts Alliance, Liam, you are the first reader.
All right, Land of Lakes. This was a delightful project application to read. It was clear and concise. The project clearly will financially benefit the work of an Indiana artist. The one question that I had in the IDEA community engagement section, I wasn't clear to me what the cost of the workshop was to the participants. They mentioned that it would be reduced fees. And while the project does well to address community input, for example, offering this opportunity again this year at the community's request, it doesn't do much to address underserved populations and those who may not have the financial resources to participate. Hence the question about what is the actual cost of this. Potentially, as a suggestion, could a scholarship offer be considered to cover someone's cost who would otherwise be unable to participate? And the reason I'm asking that is only $1,600 of a maximum $5,000 grant is being requested. So would increasing the grant request aid in making scholarships possible for more participants? And those are my big comments for this one. Thank you.
Okay, Liam, thank you very much. Phil, you are the second reader.
Not much else to add, but I do like that the applicant was very clear in explaining that they work closely with the artist who's going to be showcased, the things that are going to be detailed or covered from travel, and also working with the artist for how many participants would comfortably be able to be served by this. All of it was explained in the narrative, and it's much appreciated from a panelist point of view. So thank you.
Okay, Phil, thank you. Any additional comments from the panel? Donna.
I agree with what did Jeannie say earlier about the cost. In the community engagement section, it states that the workshop would be affordable for attendees because it'll be at a reduced rate. Yet when you go down into the income budget, there's zero income listed for registration fees. So I wasn't quite sure if it's free, is it not free, is it reduced or not reduced?
Thank you. Any additional comments from the panel? Hearing none, update your scores and comments. Let me know if you need more time, and then we'll move on when ready. Okay, it looks like we're ready. Michigan City Chamber Music Festival. Elaine, you are the first reader.
The goals were very clear, and I really appreciated that. I found a detail a little confusing about how many concerts there were. There are 6 concerts for children, but later it says there are 5 family concerts in August, interspersed with 3 concerts targeted at children. So I'm not sure what that's referring to. I also wondered why the children's concerts are so long. They're 2 to 3 hours. So and how will the musicians emphasize the key elements of the music making during the concerts? Do the kids get to touch the instruments? Is that why they're so long? Because they have a petting zoo going on, but they don't say they do. The venues seem to be very wise with the Paladin and Head Start, although I'm not sure how good the acoustics might be at the two places. So there may be in an effort to get out into the community and reach people where they are, you might be sacrificing some artistic quality. I like that the admission is free. I applaud the changes in presenting less well-known composers to mix up the diversity and relevance. And I looked them all up. They were very, very interesting. And there are very good artistic examples. In the artistic support, I thought that there were good detailed descriptions of the artists. And so I felt very comfortable knowing who was going to be behind this. In the idea section, all of the questions, are answered fully and carefully, but marketing is ignored. I did look at the website and Facebook page. They are clean, they're easy to navigate, and they do have interesting posts. But there's no real intention of what a marketing program is going to be. On the budget, I'm ignorant of what the acronyms are, so that kind of threw me off with the $9,300 MCCMF support is coming from, since the concerts are free. And I don't know what an MCCEC grant is. Otherwise, there was a thoughtful use of in-kind expenses.
Okay, Elaine, thank you. Then we move on to Donna as second reader.
The only thing I had to add was I agreed with Elaine that the festival selection of Paladin as their location for the children's concerts, I felt were very strategic. The sense of inclusion is all encompassing, from the selection of the music to the performers and to the venue selection. And I thought it was very thought out. I know that MCCEC is Michigan City, probably economic commission or something like that. There's usually grants from them. I'm not sure what MF is for, though.
Okay, thank you, Donna. Any comments from the panel? Seeing none, update your scores and comments and let me know when you're ready to move on. Okay, it looks like we're ready to move on. Next one is Neighbors Broadcasting, doing business as WVLP LP. And the first reader is Phil.
Yes, a regular arts and culture radio show. I think I know something about this. This applicant has got great detail, and this can be a difficult explanation for this particular project because it's such an umbrella project that helps provide information and outreach for so many other organizations. So I really thought the narrative did a good job explaining, how this unfolds and what the formula is. It's hard sometimes also to explain or know what will be the various demographics that are served, because in planning and producing something that is a record program like this, it is quite often fluid based on who's in need or who's trying to get the word out. But I thought plenty of examples helped further what the mission is for this worthy applicant and for the production, and all of the math also added up to make a winning formula overall. So it was a pleasure to read and score this application. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Jeannie, you're up next for the second reader.
Under artistic quality impact, I think that there is a wide variety of content for all demographics, and that is really important for the program to success, and it's why it is successful so far. And the support, there may not be, everybody's not paid, but the on-air exposure certainly helps guests develop their name recognition and thereby their potential client base. And I think that that's a very important ripple effect of this kind of a program. And I appreciated very much that the community feedback is actively sought, and that will keep their programs interesting and viable. So I thought that was a good point. Those are my comments.
Thank you, Jeannie. Any comments from the panel?
Yeah, I just have one. Personally, as a designer, I thought their website could use some updating. So maybe some of the funding could go towards updating and modernizing their design for their website. Just felt very dated, like late 90s, early 2000s. And just me as a visual person, that would just kind of turn me off to what they're doing. So I just really think they need to consider that as part of their overall marketing.
Okay, Rockland, thank you. Anything else? Okay, update your scores and online comments. Let me know if you need anything more. Okay, it looks like we're all updated. Last but not least is the Michigan City Messiah. Donna, you are the first reader.
Yes, Michigan City Messiah is a great legacy project. They've been around for 58 years. I was very impressed by that fact alone. For that, something to last that long in this area is kudos to them. All artist participants were described and where they're from, and their bios were excellent and very relevant to the project. I was glad to see that a majority of the funding was put to supporting the artist in this project. Their IDEA program, all points were addressed and everything was on target, and I felt they fulfilled the need and the obligation. Budget was on target. It was a very well organized and well run program, good timeline, and I like that the board was included in the project management. You don't get that your board involved that often, so it was good to see that.
Thank you, Donna. Rockland, you are the second reader.
I pretty much agree with Donna on this one as well. I again thought it was a very well thought out, long running program, and I'm sure they learned quite a few things over 57 years of being in production. I really appreciate that the musicians and the music director are paid for their time. I really believe artists should be paid for what they do. And I just really believe that, with such a strong presence in Northwest Indiana, it could just continue to grow.
Okay, thank you. Any additional comments from the panel?
Yeah, I have a comment about that they're adding, I thought it was ambitious that they're adding volunteer chorus presenting vocal performances within the community throughout the year. Although ambitious, it should be applauded that they're doing so.
Okay, Elaine, thank you. Any other comments from our panel? If so, update your scores, comments. Let me know if you need more time. And at this point, we'll take a final review of all your things. Let me know if you need any more time to do that quickly. And then we'll move on very quickly here. Okay, if you need no more final review, this concludes the fiscal year 24 Arts Project Support Panel for Region 1. I want to take a moment to thank Liam, Donna, Jeannie, Rockland, Elaine, Phil, and of course, not online right now is Paige Sharp from Indiana Arts Commission, Eric for the technical, and Dave Micah from South Shore Arts. So applicants will be notified of their status of their grant following the June Commission meeting. If you have any questions on what happened today, please contact Dave Micah at South Shore Arts. This concludes our session today. Thank you so much, all panelists, and thank you for all grant applicants.